Here's the kind of the toolbox, if you will, or the building blocks of intelligence that I think we can work with. We have recording and matching, which are really good at representing the world as it is. But then we have also slicing and explaining, which is necessary to interpret the world, to find meaning in the world, to really understand the world. Recording and matching, machines. Slicing and explaining, that's our responsibility. You ask any cognitive scientist, any neuroscientist, you know, what makes human cognition special? They'll tell you this. It's A, causal reasoning, and B, they would not say slicing. I like this word slicing. They would say the principle of compositionality. That's how it's known in cognitive science. This idea that things are composed of elements, and you can make new things out of these elements. And that allows us to understand things that we've never seen before. Does this look like a dat? What matching algorithms, what machines are doing, does not allow you to really come up with dramatically new things and recognize new things. It can be creative, and we can have a deeper discussion about that later, but it will be creative in a different way. Creativity is another one of those suitcase words. If someone tells you machines cannot do really creative work, what can you do with that? Of course, machines can come up with something new. I mean, machines can now write articles. Machines can write, you've seen those, right? Very recently, there's actually a new type of algorithm that wrote an opinion piece, I think, for the, what was it, the New York Times or the Wall Street Journal or so. I mean, it's beautifully written. Machines can make paintings, right? So they can be creative, of course, but they can be creative inside the box that we created, how we sliced the world. They can interpolate, but they can't really extrapolate well. All right, so let's start thinking about customer centricity. I want to think critically about some ideas, some things that we do when we do customer-centric marketing, okay, together with you, to build, I think, a definition of customer-centric marketing that will become more and more prominent in the next years, and that we can actually start using and really, you know, disrupt our own business, if you will. Okay, so what I'm showing you here is 3 firms. This is data from 3 firms. This is not actual data. I invented this data to make a point. So firm A here asked their customers, how satisfied are you with our products and services on a scale from 1 to 5? And they asked a large sample of their customers. This is what many firms are doing. They're asking their customers, how satisfied are you? Now, suppose that firm A, so they asked a marketing research company to do this, and these are the results. What are the results? So you have satisfaction here on the horizontal axis. This can be 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. And what you're seeing is that 20% of customers gives a 1. 20% of customers gives a 2, 20% of customers a 3, 20% a 4, and 20% a 5. What that means is that the average customer satisfaction score is 3 out of 5. Okay? Now, firm B, very similar firm, you know, keeping everything else constant. Also, great market research company, great response rate in the survey and so on, but gets a very different result, okay? They get this result. They find that 40% gives a 3, 20% gives a 4, 20% a 2, and then 10% a 1, and 10% a 5. Notice that the average customer satisfaction score is also a 3 in this distribution. Just the variance is different. This is more of a uniform distribution, and here you see more of a normal distribution in responses. And then there's firm C, where you see a bipolar or a bimodal distribution, where 30% gives a 1, 30% a 5, and then there's 15% 2, 15% 4, and 10% who gives a 3. Notice, again, the average customer satisfaction rating is a 3. And the question is, customer satisfaction is a metric that is oftentimes associated with customer centricity. And my question is, which firm is most customer centric? Is it firm A? Is it firm B? Or is it firm C? Firm C? Firm C, all right. Do some people say firm B, perhaps? Okay, there's also firm B. Do some people say firm A? All right, great. Great. Now we have firm A, firm B, firm C. Okay, what I'm going to argue is, obviously, it depends. That's the answer to most marketing questions. It depends. Okay, what does it depend on? It depends on what the firm is trying to accomplish and the industry that the firm is navigating. Okay, so what is a customer-centric firm trying to accomplish? What's the goal of any customer-centric firm? Make money, exactly. It is not to maximize customer satisfaction, the average. It is not to maximize the number of highly satisfied customers. It is not to minimize the number of customers that are really pissed. No, it is to make money, to maximize profitability. So the key question here to answer is, what is the relationship between the satisfaction ratings that we get from our customers and that objective of firm profitability? That's the key question we need to answer. And the answer to that question will vary from firm to firm, but in general, you will find something that looks like this. So it's going to be most likely nonlinear, but the type of nonlinearity depends on which industry you're in. So if you're in a highly competitive industry, you're going to see something like this. If you're in a less competitive industry, you're going to see something like this. Okay, so what do I mean with a highly competitive industry? These are industries where there's a lot of brands available for customers to choose from, but also where the switching costs are fairly low, right? So your customers can bounce around from one firm to the other one. Okay, so what are you going to see there? Well, you'll see that the difference between a customer who tells you, I'm delighted, I give a 5, and a customer that says, I'm satisfied, I give a 4, is large in terms of profitability. You get much more profits from that 5 than from that 4. But in terms of profitability, there's going to be less of a difference between a customer that gives you, say, a 3 and a 1. Those differences don't really matter. Okay? So in these industries, it's about, maximizing the number of highly satisfied customers. So going back, you'd want to be firm C. Firm C would be the most profitable one if the relationship is like this. However, in many industries, it might be like this. There's few alternatives to choose from. Kind of a monopolistic situation. Or switching costs are very high, right? Perhaps people are locked in due to some contract they have, or perhaps they're locked in with a loyalty program. Like airlines, for instance, there's kind of a forced loyalty, right? You've accumulated miles and miles and miles, and even if you're dissatisfied, like you want to stick with the company because you have collected all these miles. Okay, so there, I would argue, that firm B is actually the most profitable one because they have the least customers that are really dissatisfied. When I lived in the US, I was a customer of Comcast, which is a internet provider. I really didn't like them. I was unhappy with them, but I didn't hate them enough to really switch to another provider, right? To fill in all the paperwork and so on and so on. So I was a 2 and I was not a 1. And so as a consequence, Comcast got a lot of profit out of me for many years, for all the years that I lived there, right? So in these industries, you'll see more of this type of curvature. Okay, so the first property that I really want to emphasize of customer centricity is that it's not about value that you're providing to customers, or not only. That is a means to an end. You want to emphasize the value that you're getting from your customers. So what is the lifetime value of a customer? And that is the end goal. You want to maximize the lifetime value of your customers. And the value that you're providing to your customers is a means to accomplishing that goal. Okay, so you have a lot of heterogeneity here. Some customers are compatible with your firm. They like you. Others don't like you. Others are like meh. And then you have a lot of heterogeneity here with a lot of, some customers are really valuable and other customers are not so valuable. Customer centricity is not only about taking the perspective of the customer, also about taking the perspective of your firm, but it's about recognizing that each customer is different, that each customer has a different value for you, and that you have a different value for each of those customers. And I'm going to argue that nowadays, because of machines recording and matching capabilities, we can really embrace this heterogeneity, embrace this diversity between customers, and adapt our marketing activities depending on the lifetime value of specific individuals. Not some large segments, say like, oh, there's 2 segments. No, on the individual. We need to know what the lifetime value is of an individual customer. Okay, second question. Where should customer-centric firms spend most of their marketing dollars? Is this on customer retention, or is this on customer acquisition? If you ask this question, I think the intuition that comes up is retention, right? Retention. And this comes from, I've read many books, and I'm sure you have too, where people would say like, it takes much more money to acquire a new customer than to retain a customer, and long life customers become less costly to serve over time, and they pay more for the same bundle of goods over time, and so on and so on. It turns out, the research shows that while this is true for some firms in some industries, oftentimes this is not true. Your long life customers become more picky, they become more greedy, they become more costly to serve, and hence they become less profitable over time. Okay? And so I think we need to get rid of all those general ideas and really try to understand what is happening for our customers, and recognize that for some customers the profitability increases, for others it might decrease, and so on. Okay, so where should we focus our dollars? On customer retention or on customer acquisition? It depends. It depends on 2 things. One is shopping flexibility. All right, if shopping flexibility is low, which means there's few alternatives out there and switching costs are high, that means your customers are locked in, and you should probably be spending your money on rewarding new customers, right? Now, another aspect that matters here is the concentration in customer lifetime value, or in customer value, in customer profitability. What do I mean by that is, to what extent is our value of our customers homogeneously distributed across customers, or to what extent is it kind of mostly captured by a few customers, right? Are there large differences in the customer lifetime value of our customers, or do all customers have about the same lifetime value? And I think a useful tool to capture this is this is a whale curve. A whale curve. It's a very simple visualization of the extent to which value is concentrated in your customer base. What you're seeing here on the horizontal axis is the cumulative percent of customers. So you're basically estimating the lifetime value of your customers, and then you're ranking them from most to least profitable. These are your 10% customers that are most profitable, and these are your 10% customers that are least profitable. And then you're just counting how much profits you're getting. All right, in total, of course, you have 100% profit. So if you look at 100% of your customers, you're going to have 100% of profits. But value can be concentrated, or value can be more homogeneous. If it's homogeneous, well, your 10% most profitable customers are going to give you 10% of profits, and with each 10%, you add 10%. That's the blue line here, low value concentration. But for many firms, and I want you to think about your firm and the industry that you are competing in, it'll look like this, right? It'll look more like this whale that I showed you, where 10% of your most profitable customers give you, say, 30% of your profits, and so on. And then you could actually have more than 100% of your profits if you decided to fire some customers, right? These customers here have a negative lifetime value. They detract from your profitability. Okay, so customer centricity is not about rewarding your customers, about loving your customers, about maximizing satisfaction. Customer centricity is also about firing some customers or avoiding some customers. Some people you do not want to have. And you need to use data science, right, artificial intelligence, to figure out who are the people that I want to have and who are the people that I don't want to have, so that you can adapt your marketing activities to go after the people you want to and avoid getting the people that you don't want to. Okay, so how does that feed into our discussion here? Well, if shopping flexibility is high, your customers can bounce around, and concentration in customer value is high, what you want to do is focus on retaining those high value customers. In all of these other scenarios, customer centricity is actually more about let's acquire more customers. Not just in a blind way, like come here everyone, but in a smart way. In a way where you've said, does this look like a customer that is high value for us, right? Going back to the recording and matching, matching is, does this look like that? Does this look like a birthday cake? Does this look like a customer that has a high lifetime value? And so this will require recording what your current customers are doing, quantifying their lifetime value, seeing what are they doing, who are they, very specifically, where did we get them, what are their ages, who do they hang out with, who's in their social network, and so on, and then try to get more of them. Figure out who they are and try to get more of them. So not blind customer acquisition, but laser sharp customer acquisition fueled by artificial intelligence. So customer centricity is about embracing diversity. It's about recognizing that people are different, that they have different needs and wants, but also different value to us, and adapting our marketing activities based on that. Okay, so these are the takeaways for the first block, and then in the second block we'll elaborate on these. But AI or I and HI, human intelligence, these are suitcase words. They're too broad to be useful, and in a way, we've been doing AI for many years. Intelligence involves 4 things. It's about slicing, it's about recording, it's about matching and explaining. And I think if we unpack intelligence at that level, it becomes really clear what our responsibility is and what we should ask our people to focus on, and what machines should be doing. So in some sense, we should be doing much more artificial intelligence. We should use machines much more to record and to match. We're underutilizing the capabilities of machines, and in other domains, we're overutilizing them. We're trying to solve problems through recording and matching, while in fact, what we should be doing is leverage human intelligence to slice and explain. And I'll elaborate on this after the break with very specific examples. The goal of customer-centric marketing is not to maximize customer satisfaction. It is not to maximize customer retention. It is not about averages. It is not even so much about taking the perspective of the customer, but it's about recognizing that people are different, that some people are valuable to you, and that you are valuable to some people, but not for others. And then to embrace customer diversity, we're going to see that we really need a smart division of labor between humans and machines.